we're coming into the divine feminine.
It's going to be biblical.
That is so God working right there.
So let me send in my healers.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
God will be stopped.
That makes me smile.
There's nothing happening that is not biblical.
Truth shall set you free.
Hello.
Yes, it's Friday again.
Hey, it is. This is so exciting. So awesome to be with you all. How are you ladies doing? I know you all have your own lives and juggling so many things and ups and downs and changes and all that stuff, and we all are. So I think we're kind of a dichotomy of what's happening with
Yeah,
other ladies in the world, you know?
yeah. Multitasking.
True.
Yeah.
So true.
Mhm.
And you know, and it's so interesting to because we all are in a little different places in our lives, and so hearing you all and what you're going through is it's just interesting being in just seeing in different phases of a woman's life or in a man's life. It doesn't matter. We all have these different changes that we go through. Um, so it's just and this as the seasons change, it's just so interesting, and I'm just so glad that we can at least spend an hour together where we can talk about good stuff and fun stuff
Yeah.
And be there for each other. That's what I
yeah,
love about this group. We're all here for each other. Like when I
Yeah.
get news about my dad, you guys are like literally, besides Paul and the family and everything, y'all are literally the first text message that I
Mm,
send to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you ladies have definitely been a big part of my life these past couple of months. So thank you.
same. Well,
Absolutely.
this is exciting. We're triple casting today. We're triple casting today on X, Rumble, and YouTube. So
Ooh.
see if how that goes.
We're moving up, y'all.
I know.
We're hitting the YouTubes.
I spent all weekend updating all of our videos on my YouTube channel, so everyone can go back and watch all of our past shows. So I've
You were
just
a busy bee.
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm glad. I just wanted to get it all documented because we've had some cool shows and we've interviewed some cool people, you
Yeah.
know.
What a
Absolutely.
blessing. What a blessing.
Yeah, including the person that we're going to talk to today. She's awesome. She was the third person I ever interviewed ever.
Wow.
And then we have become friends. We spent a little bit of time together at the Awakening Summit, and she's just so lovely and kind, and everything that she professes to be, she is. She's really that person. And she's an author, and we're going to talk about, she's got some exciting things coming up here with what she's doing. I'm excited about it. And her name is Lisa Schermerhorn. We're going to bring her on. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me. You started to make me cry when you introduced me. I
Uh,
so love you and your energy.
Mhm.
And when you get to meet someone who you see online, when you get to meet them in person, it is really cool to see like these people are actually like what you see online.
Yeah.
Because one of the most
Mhm.
depressing thing is when you admire someone and then you meet them in person and they're not that.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
I've come across that before. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Little different.
Exactly.
I,
Exactly.
there's so much I want to talk to you about, Lisa, but because you have such incredible things coming up with your second book
Mm.
and all the authors are going to be joining you on an incredible event on the 16th. But before we get there, could you just give people a background about what you do?
Okay. Well, I'll start by saying 25 years ago, I was like really, really depressed. I didn't want to be here anymore. I had some childhood learning disabilities and I didn't do well in school. I struggled. I was always kind of an outcast and I just didn't understand why I was here. I remember having like friends over in school and trying to figure out why they even wanted to hang out with me. As I got older, I did get married and had kids, but there was always this part of me. I saw all the people I knew so passionate about finding things or seemed to really know more about who they were. And I had some memories come up from my childhood that just spiraled me into a deep depression. And I just couldn't pull myself out. I was going from therapist to therapist to therapist, and no one was helping me. And I just became really good at being the best patient for my therapist, wanting to tell them everything that they wanted to hear instead of actually healing because I was this pleaser. And someone introduced me to a hypnotist. And I was like, don't they make people quack like a duck? Like, what? Like, explain this to me. And I was so desperate, I figured I'd try. And when I realized was they were accessing my unconscious mind, the part of me that was holding all of these memories and belief systems that I didn't have access to in my conscious mind. I didn't remember things from when I was 3 and 5 and 7 years old and decisions that I made at those points in my life. So the more I did this work, the more I realized I needed to learn this because I was like, there's got to be other people like me who aren't going on, and to a point where I was exploring all kinds of energy medicine and shamanism, and I was working with a shaman, and she wanted me to go on antidepressants. I was like,
Oh my
this is
gosh.
why I'm going to you.
Right.
But yeah, but that's how bad I was. She was afraid. Like it was, I was deeply, deeply depressed. So to be able to have come out of that, and I worked my butt off. I mean, you name it, I studied, I did all this work. And then I just got this nudge from a psychic and said, you have a book you're supposed to write. I'm like, really? So I tried to write for 15 years, but it was never right. And it wasn't until I did my forgiveness work that it finally cleared everything for me. And what I mean by that, I read a book by Dr. Joe Vitale. He was in the movie The Secret, and his book was called Zero Limits. And I read his book, and he talked about this thing called the Ho'oponopono, which is this beautiful forgiveness prayer. And I was invited to join a group. And so the group was doing this prayer, and we were meeting every week and like talking about all the miracles that were happening in our lives because of this prayer. And 3 months into it, I hadn't spoken to someone for 14 years. And they were on my list of people. I had a list this thick. Like I had index cards with a name on each index card, on each card. And I would literally go through and do the Ho'oponopono for each person, each circumstance. All of a sudden, I get a phone call while I'm driving. I notice things have changed between us. I want you back in my life. How can we make this happen?
Wow.
And I almost drove off the road because nothing had changed between us except the prayer. And people in my group were having miraculous things. There was a fellow who was a Jehovah's Witness who left the church. His family ended up disowning him, and he had gotten married and had children. And they, part of the church is if you leave, they basically excommunicate you. They don't allow you, and there's no contact. And he started doing the prayer, and all of a sudden his mother contacted him and just said, there's no rule that I said that I can't just bump into you at the library with your children. And so he was able to heal a lot of things and develop and was able to rekindle a relationship with her. So part of that Ho'oponopono group, someone contacted me and said, Dr. Vitale's doing a movie based on Zero Limits, and would you like to be in it? So I thought that was a joke and a scam. And I put the producer and the director through hell, proving to me that they were real.
Don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Can't be too sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was legit, and I got to be in that movie for a couple of minutes, and things in my life changed, and the title to my first book came in every belief is a lie. And after that, the word belief, lie is in the middle of it. And was it Audrey or Barb who had the saying?
Audrey.
Yeah.
Audrey.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell my friends all the time, you got to question your beliefs and ask yourself, what beliefs do I hold that have lies in them? Because it's literally hidden in plain sight. Our beliefs are made up of lies. But
Right.
there are no lies in the word knowing.
Yeah. I love that. I love that because it's all about becoming truly sovereign, because to know thyself, and we came in forgetting, and we get programmed. If you take 10 children and you put someone in an urban environment, someone in the countryside, someone put them in a farm, someone put them, in Europe, someone else in Australia, they're all having majorly different experiences, being programmed by their parents, by their school friends, any bullying that happens, all the different belief systems, religions, whatever you get, and I say indoctrinated into. And it becomes this part of you. And then when people question that, people get triggered, or you start to question that in yourself, it can create a bit of a meltdown for you.
Right.
Mhm.
So the whole process of writing that book was very cathartic, and I give people techniques and things that I use, because I don't do anything I haven't done on myself, to help them, do their own work. And then during COVID, I had someone ask if I wanted to train in a particular type of quantum healing. And I've been doing remote healing for years, people familiar with Reiki and all kinds of things. And I thought, sure, absolutely. I'm always open to learning something. And they said to me, well, you can only do it in person. And I'm like, well, I've worked in the quantum field of doing energy medicine. It's all about intention. So I thought, I don't know what she's talking about. But I started out that way. And then I thought, how am I going to prove to people that I'm making a difference in people's lives? And so what I did was I talked to a friend of mine who's a functional medicine specialist. And she said to me, there's something called dark field microscopy where you can actually look at people's blood before and after on a screen. They take a little pinprick of your blood, and people are specialized in it. But the state that I lived in Vermont, it's illegal. So it was illegal to look at my own blood. They say that it's, impersonating a medical professional, a licensed medical professional, whatever. So it was really hard for me to find someone who knew that, because there were people who were having side effects from the jab and from a lot of other things. And I had loved ones that were struggling with their own issues and side effects. So what I did was I contacted a friend of mine who was down in Florida, who was having some physical issues. She had some jabs herself, and was having side effects. And she knew someone who was certified in the dark field microscopy. So she went and had her blood looked at. We had no idea what we were looking at. She pulled up FaceTime, and we're just taking screenshots. Oh, cool. Look at your blood swimming around on the screen. And no, I have no medical background, none. And then she went home, and I did the healing. And then she went back 10 days later, and her blood had completely changed. So it was misshapen, pear-shaped, all clumped together. It was a funky color. And then when we went back and changed, all the blood cells were round. And that's all I could see was the before and after. The technician went in and really went into detail about, what had changed. But the biggest thing was her massage therapist had noticed physical changes in her shoulders and her arm, because that's where a lot of her issues were radiating. And she said that her pain in her chest had gone. So she said to me, I have a friend who was a first, a first responder, had symptoms of MS, and had collapsed on the floor in his kitchen for 11 hours, too weak to move. And would you be willing to try working on him? And I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just surrendering to God and, the universe, whatever. Let's just see. So when I do these healings, I visualize in my mind's eye, oftentimes water running through people. It's like a cleansing that's happening. And I see guides. So I'll see people's spirit guides, loved ones that show up for them. And during this, I saw this water coming through, and there was a blockage around his abdomen that the water wasn't moving. So I'm trying to, in my mind's eye, push it through. And I look next to me, I feel this presence, and it's Jesus. And to give you some background around me, I'm raised Jewish. So he's come to me to help me before, but it was really funny to see him next to me. I'm like, I'm getting out of the way. You do you and do what you need to do. So he started doing some work on him, and then it went from clear, and I'm sorry, it was like this murky color to clear. Water was flowing, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And then the session was over, and I didn't say anything to him about what I saw. I just said, we'll meet again in 10 days. When I met up with him, he said to me, I don't know if this is relevant, but what I experienced 2 days after the healing was I woke up at 7:00 in the morning, vomiting clear liquid. I didn't have any water before I went to bed. I didn't have any in the middle of the night. All I saw was just water coming out of me. I have no idea where it came from. So then I shared my experience, and we saw his blood had significantly changed. So my daughter was hearing all about this quantum thing, and she's like, what's this quantum healing you're doing? And I said, I've read about quantum physics. I understand it, but I didn't know how to explain it. And I thought, let me explain it in story. And I started asking friends of mine who I knew, who were these amazing people in my life, who were in the quantum world, to start, to give me a chapter. I was going to put this collaborative book. I thought, okay, my other book was really a lot of work. This should be easy. I'm just going to take other people's chapters and put them together. Oh my God, over a year later. It was far more work.
Yeah.
And so from there, because I was connected with Dr. Joe Vitale, he wrote a chapter in the book. Dr. Christiane Northrup, who wrote the foreword to my first book, she wrote the foreword to this book. I'm sorry. She endorsed my last book. And then I have Tom Althouse, who was the original screenwriter for The Matrix. I have Dr. Carrie Madej, who was one of the biggest voices in the beginning of COVID, and people went after her, tried to kill her. And what Ellen's showing right now, this is the landing page. These are all the authors. Laura Eisenhower, the great-granddaughter of Dwight D. Eisenhower, our former president. Sir Robert Edward Grant is in it. He invented an AI called the Architect, and he does a lot of spiritual travel. So there's a lot of really amazing, unique people, animal communicators, artists, people who communicate with plants. I don't know if people know Michael Jaco, where he remote views, and he tells his story about dying and then meeting Archangel Michael and then coming back to life and remote viewing. There's some really amazing stories. Chris O'Connor, I slipped in right after I met him. I was like literally, he gave me his chapter in a week. Yep.
There's Joe and
Joe
Joe Rosati.
Rosati.
He's the one that introduced me to you, and so these are all contributors to this book,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, 36 contributors.
Wow.
Which is incredible. And so with that, you're having this just so cool, this special launch
Yeah.
on the 16th, which is coming up. Tell us
Yeah.
about this launch.
So my thought is I wanted to bring as many of the authors that could be there as possible. We've got so far over 20 out of the 36 are going to be there.
Wow.
Still working on them. And this is going to be a Q&A. They're going to have a couple minutes to introduce themselves, and then and then people can do a Q&A, and an opportunity to communicate with some of these people, get to know what was behind their. We had a group of 8 authors get together yesterday, and when they started telling their stories, I just started crying, because these people have really done so much with their lives. And each one of these authors I interviewed, and their interviews, including Dr. Northrup, are on this landing page, and those are free. So you don't even have to buy the book if you want to know about these authors, but their stories in the book are really remarkable. And that book is launching on Tuesday. So I'm doing a special price.
Yeah.
I started out with $8.88, but when I loaded it up for approval on Amazon, they said they wouldn't let me price it at that because they have to make a certain amount of money on the book. So it's $9.99. So my apologies. So on that's going to be the special launch price. And if you buy it, then you get a free quantum. I'm doing a group quantum healing, so I'm going to let people know the date of that. People are invited to that. And we also have my friends Sophia Eric and Lori Daniel Falk are in it, and they have an amazing AI networking platform that they are introducing to everyone to be for free. So it's kind of like Match for entrepreneurs and people who are mentors and finders. It's called Find Your Mentor. And you can have your own profile in it for free. You create circles and you can do courses through it, and it finds people for you. Because how many of us as coaches and healers have to spend so much of our time finding people
Right.
to work with? This does that for you.
Yeah,
So
that's
there's
amazing.
so many cool things that we're trying to create a movement and help people understand that their thoughts are creating their reality as we move into the 5th dimension. Because this is the new way of how we're going to be living as we move forward.
Yeah, very, very exciting. And it's so affordable, and it's just such a unique, it's just a very cool opportunity to be able to have question and answer with some of these contributors. I mean, it's just such a cool idea. And so you can register for free here, and I'll help Hair Therapy with the link afterwards on the comments so
Yeah.
people can sign up, because it's just such a cool idea to launch the book. I really think it's just so interesting, Lisa.
Yeah.
That's such a great job.
Well, thank you. And we're doing a European launch at 6 a.m. Eastern time. But for people who are overseas, I have one woman who's in the book. She was also in the movie with me, Renata Angelo. She's in Australia, and she's from the Czech Republic, and she has a huge following there. And so we're going to do a separate event in the morning, 6 a.m. for people who want to buy the book that morning. Our hope is for the book launch is for people to buy it then and help us get to bestseller or even international bestseller. So
Yeah.
we've got 250 people signed up for this already. I had to upgrade my Zoom. It was I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all about the timing too.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I think people are kind of more ready for this as well. And I also just want to show your website, lisaschermerhorncoaching.com.
Yeah.
And it's just all really great information. It's just really about what you said about understanding yourself and just having happiness and goodness and confidence and health and clarity is what
Yeah.
it's just all good, great information. And and it's nothing weird.
Oh,
It's just you want me to show that?
yeah, well, these are when I was last summer, I was in Europe. There was I was at a red carpet event in Prague, and then this was the Marbella Film Festival. So, yeah, so this was really fun going to the red carpet. That's all the red carpet in Prague event. And that was the night of the film festival, and with the director and the producer, their husband and wife.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very, very, very. That's a hilarious picture.
yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh, it's just real. It's really all so fascinating to me. All those things, and 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 just like your story, Lisa, it all comes out of wanting to, you having to go on your journey, right? And you had to have that journey before you were able to heal others,
Yes,
right? I mean,
yes.
correct?
Oh, absolutely. And you know what I found every time that I would heal something in me, a client would show up and I'm like, "Oh, thank God I worked on that last week because now I can
Yeah,
handle that." It's
yeah.
like you never know who you're going to get. And so the more I studied, I also got into inherited ancestral trauma. So we do hypnosis for that, as well as past lives, and the quantum healing and traditional hypnotherapy. So it's really expanded in so many ways, and it's so rewarding when you can help someone come out of trauma. And,
Yes.
I'm not a licensed mental health practitioner, so I'm actually not supposed to say that the T word. So I have to be careful with that. But I've seen people make miraculous changes in their lives.
Yeah. And and the thing is, the fact that it's just this is, I just love observing all of this. The fact that Jesus came into your peer view means that God's hands are in all of this. We might be trying different tools and things to heal, but it's ultimately through Jesus, through God, that it happens. And
Yeah.
we just are finding ways of doing it. And I love that. It's just so wonderful to think about. To share. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, yes. And first of all, thank you, Lisa, for being here with us. I loved hearing your story and, the journey that it took for you to birth these two books and understand how to tap into the quantum field in order to be able to be a healer. That's a process. And that's something that is individually, you have to individually go through that in order to get into the space of healing. As yourself, I was able to study under Dr. Michael Beckwith in LA, who is also in The Secret.
Yeah.
And so he was the one who kind of put me on my journey in terms of understanding how to tap into myself. And so I spent many years at Agape Ministries learning how to meditate, learning how
Whoops.
to
Oops.
serve, learning how to clear my own path so that I could begin to understand how to be an instrument, a vessel, in order
Yeah.
to help others tap into their alignment. I also used, as something that you spoke about, hypnotherapy. I used it, hypnosis, for my childbirth, for giving birth to
Oh,
children.
wow.
And so, because I gave birth to both of my children at home, I chose to use this modality in order to prepare my mind, for that space, and I found it very healing. And I still use it today. So the modalities that you're using, I'm very familiar with, and so I'm very interested to read your book, The Quantum Healing, because it's something that I'm very interested in. And I thank you for your work, because I feel your passion of wanting to build community and wanting to bring other people together as we slowly but surely integrate into the fifth dimension, and understanding who we are and what gifts we have in order to operate. So I thank you for the work that you're doing, and I look forward to following it as it blossoms into even more than you expect.
You're so kind. Thank you so much. And you know what? One of the biggest things that I realized on this journey is that it's not me. Like, you really have to humble yourself and realize that I'm not healing anyone. I'm not doing anything. What I've done is raise my frequency. As I release my own stuff, I'm raising my frequency. So I'm allowing others to raise their frequency too. So the higher my vibration and frequency goes, the higher the people that I work with have the opportunity to achieve, because not everyone is ready. Not everyone is ready to heal. And so it's really important that people take responsibility for their healings, because I remember reading Byron Katie's book, Loving What Is. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, but it's all about taking responsibility for your healing. And early on, I was like, these people did this to me, and I am a victim. And I got so mad, I threw the book across the room, and I really struggled with that book. I don't think I ever finished it. And it was part of the coursework that I had to read. But I was so mad at her. And then I realized why she triggered me so much was because I was really stuck in that victim mentality.
Mm-hmm. And that's the hardest thing we have to do as humans, is take self responsibility. And because with self healing, you have to take responsibility as well, right? And
That's
and
right.
that's the hardest thing somebody can do. It's scary,
It is scary. It's very
because
scary.
that's when you're held accountable.
That's
And right? And we
Yes.
purposefully, and it's been a whole psychological thing that they've done on us, to purposefully
mhm.
make us feel like victims, so that we could blame everybody else and separate us. And I mean, it's all, so they did a pretty dang good job on us, to
They did. And you know what? The biggest push, and what I hope that people get from this new book is, it's about healing the divide. It's about bringing people together. And one of the things that, if you get a chance to meet Chris O'Connor, who's one of the kindest, most loveliest hearts and souls, when you meet people who have been through the amount of trauma that he's been through, and other people in the book, and still come out in a place of love, they've done their work, right?
Yeah.
right.
And we are all one. And that's not just a saying. We are all a fractal of each other. So when we hate people, we make fun of people, when we bully people, and it doesn't, when you get into the whole politics and everything else, I remember a time when we could have a really beautiful debate. I remember a time where we could actually sit and talk about where we stood on something, and ask, wanting to know, like, why do you believe what you do, and let's see if we could educate each other about what's going on. That's like been thrown out the window.
Sure.
People
Mhm.
get so angry, and
Triggered.
we need to learn, yeah, and triggered, and we need to learn to love each other and get together and come together in community.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's
yes,
right. It's the
yes.
only
And,
way,
and
and it's the new way, and it has to happen. And I that's why I thank God for the platform here, on the View of Truth, and for what you're doing, Lisa. And it has to happen. Separation has to cease in terms of for the greater good, because
Yeah.
when you are vibrating in a God frequency, then you understand that the differences that we have bring us closer together, not further apart.
Yeah. And the
oh,
first step
yay.
for people to raise their frequency is with the forgiveness prayer, Ho'oponopono. And it's 4 simple lines. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And you can go and you can read more about Dr. Joe Vitale's book. There's information in my first book about it. There's stuff online about it. But literally miracles start to happen in your life when you let go. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that when you forgive someone, it means that it's okay what they did to you. And it's
Right.
the farthest thing from the truth. You're letting it go. That person who called me, I had forgiven them and they didn't know I forgave them. They still felt it anyway. And they're still not my favorite person, but I'm willing to have them in my life because of other, it's a family member. And so I do what I need to do to keep the peace, but I don't get triggered and I have firm boundaries and I can walk away whenever I want to.
Absolutely. I'm Audrey, you talk about this often in unity, and you try to do things and try to go to events, bringing people together and see the bigger picture. And I, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, because some people aren't ready yet. But planting the seed is so important, which I think you do, Audrey.
Yeah, a lot of what she's saying, it resonates with me because of my whole. It's not even my idea. The seed that God planted about the green pill. Putting it in language that a lot of us recognize. You mentioned the Matrix, right? Red pill, blue pill. Is the green pill, to me, represents so much of what quantum actually enables. Quantum to me is kind of like the sciencey name of what Jesus does for us and through us, right? So, forgiveness is a huge part of our spiritual growth and our relationship with Jesus, because as I think I looked it up as you were talking, it's Matthew 6:14 says, "For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you." So forgiveness is often not for the forgiven, but it's the forgiver. It sets us free, right?
Right.
And so all of this is the green pill, is recognizing that it's all about our true relationship with Jesus. Once we follow him, we learn to be more like him. Then you can walk with him, to co-create with him, and to unlock all of your gifts, because we all have all these different gifts. Some of us are gifted with the ability to be used as a healer, some as an evangelist, some as all these kind of different things. And it's all about learning your true identity, letting go of the ego, letting go of all the things, and letting the ultimate physician use us to help heal others. He takes our pain and he turns it into purpose. So that's all the concept of the green pill. And like quantum entanglements are like my favorite thing ever to experience. I love experiencing a quantum entanglement. And you spoke about it at the beginning about locality. Like, that's the beauty of quantum, is that locality doesn't matter.
No.
Right.
So I'm going to share something that was really cool that happened to me this morning. So I live on a mountainside and I love going on this walk. And there's a point where I come down my road and then I have to veer right. And there's a telephone pole there. And the weather's been crazy here in Vermont. So we've had a lot of rain. I mean, Vermont switches like from snow to summer. There's like very little spring. And so I finally okay, I can do my walk today. And there's often a red-winged blackbird that would appear on the electric lines like last year. And I would always look for him. So I was walking and I was anticipating seeing him. And I asked if I wanted it as a sign, if this book and everything that I'm doing, if I'm on the right path, let the red-winged blackbird appear. And there he did. He flew right above me. And I was like, oh my God, I love you.
That's so awesome. I love those little synchronicities and things that happen when you are able to notice them, because I think it happens all the time, but we're more tuned into it now and seeing it too, which is just so fantastic. And Barb, what are your thoughts on all this? Just the other day you sent us a picture of a yellow grasshopper, and I was like, what the heck? I'd never seen it before, and that had a really special meaning too.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me look that one up, because that's what dinged in my head when she showed me the bird was the yellow grasshopper that I shared with you
Yeah.
ladies the other day.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
see.
You
Let me
can
see.
Because
look for signs, ask for signs. Like literally ask for signs. And if you ask, they will provide, they will help you. They won't do it unless you ask.
So
Right.
what's so funny is about this conversation is I've seen one of the viral things going around, or at least in my algorithm, is bluebirds like asking God to send me a bluebird to confirm if blah 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 blah. And God does often do this, right? And but I saw like a kind of a controversial take on it where this girl was like, you don't need a sign from God to know that something is true all the time. And we shouldn't always rely on the physical things happening like that to know. Right. But it was so funny because I was like, okay, I understand that, because that's where faith comes in. We have to just trust God, regardless if he gives us the sign or not. We like these confirmations. We love the synchronicities. And so I was watching all these videos and like kind of reading the comments and kind of discerning like where I kind of fall and all that, and what is actually true and all of that. And I was outside of my garden checking on my little pretty tomatoes and watermelon, and then I see a bluebird. And I was like, okay, God, like you're real funny. Like,
yeah, exactly.
because I never see bluebirds in the backyard. But again, Ellen, to your point, who knows? That bluebird could be there every day. But my awareness about bluebirds wasn't until I started like looking at the
That's
bluebirds.
right.
But so it's just that increased awareness and operating
Yes.
in alignment and with God, and
Right.
but for me, I love the synchronicities. I love these confirmations. Everybody knows I love a good confirmation. But at the same time, I always kind of have to like ground myself to be like, okay, but Lord, I still trust you implicitly,
Right.
even if I've
Absolutely.
never seen another bluebird ever in my life,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
But it's the miracle of the confirmation when they do come in makes such a difference. When I was doing some training, we did a meditation and it was outside a labyrinth. And they asked us to meditate and ask for a sign and ask for the sign, a specific sign, and ask for it to show up within the next 24 hours. And then we got up and went to walk the labyrinth. So I was asking for a white bird. We start to walk the labyrinth, and there is a statue of a white bird in the middle of the labyrinth. And I'm like, does that count? And they're like, of course it does.
Oh, it's too
They're
funny.
like,
Well, that
"Wow,
one, I feel like that one's even better, because in that case, you or anyone around you didn't manifest it. It was waiting. It was a nugget planted already, because God already knew, because he had made your path.
Yeah.
And so he already knew. So those confirmations are even stronger, in my opinion, because it shows that God already had it all mapped out, and you were just walking into God's
That's
plan.
so cool.
Right.
So Barb, did you find your grasshopper?
Yeah.
I did. I found it. It was a yellow grasshopper. Now, backstory a little bit. I was talking to the ladies about my father. Now, my father's in very bad, very poor health, not doing so well. And I was outside in my garden, just tinkering, just like any woman would after she plants her plants. And I saw this yellow, bright, I mean, bright. The women could vouch for it. It was
Oh
a
my
bright
gosh.
yellow. I've never seen it before. Never seen one like that in North Carolina at all. So the yellow grasshopper spiritual symbols mean good luck, abundance, joy, and taking a leap of faith.
The leap of faith.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what
I
and
love
all the changes that I've been going through, ladies, for the past month
Yes.
and a half, 2 months, like that leap of faith one jumped out so strong to me,
Absolutely.
because it's
Wow.
like with everything that I'm going through, I'm literally going head full force into my faith.
Yeah.
And it's making it even stronger. And my connection with God has come really strong with me real recently. And
Wow.
that one just when it said a leap of faith, I was like, here it comes.
Yes.
Here it comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
Little
accidents.
nuggets and Easter eggs that
Yep.
he's planted for you to confirm that you're on the path. He's the lantern at
He's
our
given-
feet, right?
Yes.
He gave me this path, and he's like, Barb, you're on the right one.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Oh, Lisa, this has been such a joy for us.
Oh
I
Yes.
my God, thank you. This is a joy for me.
so wonderful, and I can't wait for the 16th. I'm going to be there at
Awesome.
this question and answer, and you are such a lovely light, and I'm just so glad to get to know you and be friends with you, and you're
Thank you.
continuing just to want to bring goodness to the world and to other people, and we appreciate that so much. We really do.
Thank you. That means more than you know. Appreciate that so much.
Keep doing what you're doing, and I'm sure I'll talk to
Yes.
you really soon.
I will. I love all of you. It was so nice meeting you. I'm looking
Nice
forward to
meeting
seeing
you
you
too.
again. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Bye bye.
Bye.
That was fantastic.
Yeah,
She's just such a kind, loving person. And just wanting to do good. Um,
absolutely. I'm excited to read the books.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm.
They were
Yeah.
green. I had to point out the title on all of her color. It said "We are Quantum," and it was green. And then on her website, there was a lot of green. There's a lot of green. So to me, those are confirmations from God, right? Saying, "Yep,
Yes.
it's all about me. God's all, it's all about me. It's all about me."
It's
Exactly.
always all about him.
I know. And
It is.
Barb, is your shirt? Barb, is your shirt green? Yeah.
Yes.
My gosh.
I can't
That's
show you, but I have
crazy.
on green pants.
Oh, I love it.
That is too awesome. Well, I
And you
wanted I
got
wasn't
right. Audrey's got her Pepe's right behind her.
Aw. I love that so much. I I wasn't planning to do this, but Kathy O'Brien to me, she's a person that was involved with severe MK Ultra brainwashing. She was involved with the trafficking. She's a very well known. She's done documentaries. She's an inspiration for many, many years, testified. I mean, she's just legendary. And she just had I wanted to share this because she just had a big weather event happen in her home with her and her daughter, and her house was just completely destroyed. And I just want to share, if even if you could donate $5 or $10, but I wanted to share part of my I started out with interview with her because she hit on something to me that was so interesting. I I I asked her what were some of the techniques that helped her get into a better place and realize that there is a greater good, and realize the goodness in things, and her take of it was just so interesting. It really, a lot of it all had to do with writing things down. So I just wanted to share this with you. Because as you said, there was a time where you didn't know that there was any good, basically, in this world.
Right.
When did that shift for you, and so that you're in this lighter place and understanding that we're on a path now, that those one world order is not going to win, that God
Right.
wins? When did that start to happen for you?
As soon as Mark told me that the pen is mightier than the sword, and to write out my memory, because the very act of moving a pen activates the logic, critical analysis part of the brain. So it takes emotionally incomprehensible, repressed, compartmentalized trauma, shifts it over to logic, where it's written out on paper, consciously seen, and all of a sudden healing happens psychiatrically, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, every bit of it all at once with this one simple little brain trick. Writing by hand is so important. I encourage everyone to write out their fear, write out their trauma, write out what's immobilizing them. And that will open those neuron pathways in their brain. Again, mind control shuts them down. We need our brains, our brains firing properly. We need that open. And then write out the grief, guilt, anything holding you back, and then add a solution. Because if you add a solution, it's like it'll lift you above that storm, so to speak, so you get a clear view forward, and it's opens more neuron pathways in the brain. So this is a great brain trick everyone everywhere should be using. And it's part of our birthright information that was withheld for so long. And if we had understood that, we would know why writing by hand has been taken out of the school system.
Yeah.
Instead, we have keyboards. Typing on a keyboard does not do the same thing. Twiddling thumbs on a cell phone doesn't do the same thing. When if we get writing by hand back in the school system, we can stop the indoctrination of our children because it will teach them how to think again instead of program them with what to think.
Oh,
That is pretty, right?
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I'm so
Well,
happy you showed that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I want to talk about that, but first
Yeah.
let me just share this too. That basically her home was just completely devastated, and if you go to her website, trans formation.com, and there's just right here, right up at there's a donate. If you could just do $5, $10, you know, she has been through so much, and to have her home completely obliterated like that is just so, you know, much. And I just she's given so much to so many people, and she's been through so much herself. If you can do something, that would be fantastic. And now I do want to go back to what she spoke about, about writing.
Yes.
Shara, you wanted to say something first?
Oh gosh. Well, first of all, and Ellen, I'm going to contact you afterwards because I want to be able to support her and give her something in just because I feel compelled to. But I was in a small group training for some outpatient therapists, and it was laid in my heart to have them as in the training. They're working with young children. They're working with ages five to 15 years old, and it was in my heart to have them integrate children in the treatment plan and writing out the treatment plan so that they understand modalities and coping mechanisms that they're working on. And my understanding came from some of what Kathy was speaking of is that connection with us writing and being able to make something plain. This is why it says write the vision on the wall and make it plain. It doesn't say type it. It doesn't say, it says
Right.
write the vision and make it plain. And how that activates our subconscious mind to be able to then create new neuron pathways that helps the resetting in epigenetics. And so I'm so excited to hear that because I think it's so important for professionals, clinicians, therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists to become retrained in how we are able to clinically work with people. And some of it goes back to these simple, basic skills that we have kind of drawn away from over time about getting back to the roots and writing and getting our mind, body, and soul on one accord. And so things like that excite me because that
Uh-oh.
is where my integration in my spiritual world kind of meets my
Yeah.
clinical world. And God
Yeah.
is able to
Yeah.
allow me to merge some of the information that I have inside of me together. So I'm so grateful for you playing that because it's so vastly important for us to understand. So thank you.
Yeah. And Audrey, if you say I can see you want to say something.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of everything that you just said to share. And also, whenever I think about the practicality behind what it means to write. Okay, so when you physically write, you can't be listening to a movie, you can't be having a conversation with somebody. Like, it's not a multitasking thing. When you physically write, it takes what? It takes full focus and intentionality. So, and
Yeah.
that's when Jesus can do the most work, is when our heart posture is at full attention. And And when you apply the intention, like it takes intention to physically write something out versus when we type, we can be talking because our fingers have been programmed to know where to touch on a keyboard. So you can multitask away, but you can't physically write down something with intention unless you have your full focus. Right. You know, same thing with watching, same thing with videoing yourself. I was just telling another friend, suggesting to when we do daily declarations or speaking life over yourself, to video yourself and then watch yourself back. Because it's like watching someone else. It's a different way to observe yourself. Because again, you have to be intentional to do that. You're looking at yourself in the mirror. I say record yourself because then you can track your own physical expressions. Right. And I've done all these kind of self experiments and they all work because of the psychology behind it, the neural pathways, but it all comes down to the intentionality that it forces. You can say that I intend, God, I really am. I'm intending to do this. And he does know the intentions of our heart, but when you force the physical self to be intentional, it levels up that intentionality. Because again, right. You can't multitask and write at the same time. You can't speak life over yourself into the camera while having a conversation with somebody else. Right. Like you can't do both. It's not a multitasking thing. So I love it. I love how it all comes together. Like you said, Deshara, when all these little pieces come together, it creates such a beautiful picture. I love it.
It does. Excellent. And Barb, don't you, we all, to me, we all, centuries, we kept journals. We kept, and even soldiers on the field wrote their journal of things down. And that I truly believe that's purposefully been taken away. I mean, don't you think, Barb?
Yeah, because I was just literally sitting here. It's so weird you said that. I was literally sitting here thinking, I used to write in a journal all the time until I hit my crazy teens and my wildness. And it went right. I'll say it, when the devil attacked me and took a hold of me, I stopped writing. Literally. Wow. I stopped writing. I was writing poems. I was writing in my journals. I was writing songs. I was always writing. I was always drawing. Like my dad and my mom have everything that I used to do, like everything. My journals, they got lost in the fire, the ones that I had as a teenager. But yeah, I used to write all the time. And I feel like, yes, they've moved us away from that. And once they started giving computer classes at schools, that's when it completely, all the writing literally just ceased in schools. Completely. And I'm literally mad at myself that I haven't even started a journal since last year's big event of us getting baptized and everything. But I think I'm going to have to. We're going to the store today. We're going to the store today, and I think I'm going to get me a little journal notebook. Yeah. I think I'm going to have to, because with everything going on, you're right. Writing it down and professing it all to him is what I'm missing. It is what I'm missing. I'm telling you right now, that's what I'm missing. I've got him. I just need to.
Well, he's continuously growing our intention. It's a classic, like, he meets you where you are. Right. 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 Like, it's what he does. And then there's always opportunities to grow. And then it's never going to change. He's going to keep on. We're always going to continue to grow. But he does meet us where we are, and he brings us together like this to, glorify him and encourage each other and inspire each other. And our guests come on to bring it all together. And we have people that he's gifted, like Dr. Deshara, that links it all together for us with all of her gifts. It's Romans 8:28 in real life,
Right.
All of us. Yes. Girls, I love you.
And I wanted to bring this back up because I think the more we put it out there in the world, because children are really, as we change the education system. It's all going to have to be changed. Writing is going to have to come back as what as a primary,
Yeah.
back to the basics.
Mhm.
Well, I wanted to change on another topic because just like with writing, there's so
Mhm.
many obvious things that happen to us in our lives, and when you look at it, you're like, oh my goodness, like writing. Well, John Michael Chambers, I have interviewed him. He's a wonderful fella, and he does great um, news. He interviews incredible people. He's got a great his broadcasting channel is fantastic. But he did a post a while back, and it made me go, and it was all about tears and a study that had been done. And to me, I hadn't really realized it at all. Um, but it was so I want to read this to you, um, what he wrote. And let me bring this up because it's fascinating to me because it confirms everything about us is God made purposefully for healing. He wrote in this post, "Your tears are medicine. Stop holding them back. Your tears contain a natural painkiller 6 times stronger than morphine, and you were
Wow.
trained to hold them back." In 2006, researchers at the Pasteur Institute in Paris discovered a molecule in human tears called leucin, N, enkephaline. It is an endogenous opiate. Your body manufactures it. It binds to the same receptors as morphine. It is 6 times more potent. And every time you cry, your body is not breaking down. It's self-medicating. Dr. William Frey at the University of Minnesota proved that emotional tears have a completely different chemical composition than reflex tears. So when you cry from cutting an onion, the tears are mostly water. But when you cry from grief, stress, or pain, the tears contain cortisol, adrenaline, prolactin, and leucin and enkephalin. Your body is literally flushing stress hormones out through your eyes and replacing them with your own painkiller. People who cry regularly have lower blood pressure, lower cortisol levels, and stronger immune functions than those who suppress their tears. This has been measured. Men are told crying is weakness. Women are told it's emotional instability. Children are told to stop. An entire species trying to suppress the one biological mechanism designed to flush poison from the body and replace it with medicine. You have a pharmacy behind your eyes. It activates automatically when you need it. It costs nothing. It requires no prescription. And for your entire life, you were told to shut it off. Next time your body tells you to cry, allow it. It knows exactly what it's doing.
Hmm.
How cool is that?
It's
Well,
as if we were intelligently designed.
You think?
you think?
In Psalms,
Yeah.
to,
Yeah, that's so
to anchor
important.
it.
I mean, as a mental health clinician, I never ever would utter the words to someone, stop crying.
Right.
No, please let it all out. That's emotional regulation. It is so much healing to the body. And so, even just as children, I'll cry. Let's get it out and let's reset our nervous system. Let's release. And
Mhm.
so the worst thing that someone can do is to stop the body from naturally doing what it was designed to do. And so thank you for sharing that, Ellen, because these are topics that, some of us may know or some of us may not know, but we don't often get a chance to speak about. We don't get a chance to talk about. And so having a platform where we can talk about these things, such as this, let's cry so that we can reset our nervous system and encourage others that it's okay. Even males, it's so important for males to know.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
it
okay.
is.
Well,
It
and
is
to
okay.
to anchor it in his word, he tells us in Psalms 56a, you keep track, you count my tears, you've collected them all in a bottle and recorded each one in your book. Like, that's crazy when you really think about, like, God knows, because he created us and he created us to cry for various reasons. Like the onions that it talked about is like a physiological kind of thing. And then you have sorrow to heal. And then there's joyful tears, which those are my favorite kind of tears, obviously. And it's so funny that we're talking about this, because just this morning I went and dropped Tucker off at church for his first church camp. And I was just like overwhelmed, and I just started like crying, because I was like, God, look what you're doing in my life. Like, my life is just so different, y'all, than it was 5 years ago. And to think about how my son now is 13, was all excited going and being with his friends that he's met, these little fellow disciples. He has all this scripture memorized. He's like, don't forget my Bible. I need highlighters. And like watching all these kids like load up on this bus. I never did that when I was in junior high. Okay, in junior high, I was starting to break bad, and going to a church camp was not even a consideration that I knew existed. And so I was just like overwhelmed. I'm like bawling on the way home. And I'm like, God, you're so good. Like, in my life. And like, I just couldn't. The tears wouldn't stop coming. And then now we're here talking about tears. So,
yeah. And that's why, exactly. And that's why we feel better when we cry. Yeah. That's why it's our own pharmacy at work, God's pharmacy. And it's so cool. Barb,
Ellen, when we talked the other day, didn't you say this on the phone to me?
Yes, I did.
And then after that conversation, I felt a little bit better. Like I was, I even texted you. I was like, thank you for talking to me. It really helped. Like tears do. And you could tell that as a wife with a chef, I'm around him when he cooks. You can tell the difference between an onion cry and an ugly cry. You know what I mean? That's what I call them. But I mean, it is healing. It is very healing. I'm an avid crier. Just ask Paul.
I know. You are.
I'm an avid crier, but my mom was that way too. So that in a way makes me feel like my mom raised me the right way by making sure that I had the most kindest heart that anybody could ever have. And I do. And Paul can vouch for this. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I give people so many chances until it really, really burns. And then that's when I cut ties. But I'm not one that's always like, let's give them one more chance, Paul. Let's give this opportunity one more chance. Like I'm always that person that's let's do it until it burns. And when it burns, that's when you know you got to just let go.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. That's a great point. But you wear your heart on a sleeve, and you're so kind.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
I know.
So
we love you.
Do y'all think whenever someone says, like, when they've been going through something, right, whether it's a death in the family or just reliving trauma or whatever the thing is, and they say things like, I can't cry anymore. Like, I'm just done.
All cried out.
I'm all cried out. Do you think that that's like a sign, like a phase in the healing? Like,
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I actually do from a clinical standpoint. I think that, it's a positioning, it's a state that a person has gotten to, in the particular processing of the experience that they have gone past that. I think that there's stages,
makes sense.
I'll take that back. I don't think that there's stages. There are stages, to the process of grieving and the process of just emotionally regulating any experience. And so in that, tears are not always a part of the entire process. It's could be a part of the process. And so once, someone has gone through and they have processed it to a certain extent, tears may not be necessary for the next part of the journey. And so there's a point where somebody can say, I am all cried out because I'm processing it differently now.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, it's because whenever I used to tell my testimony, like the early stages of my testimony, and I could never get through it without like breaking down again, you know? And then over time, I was able to do it without crying on the sad parts. I'm not talking about joyful, overwhelming, humbling kind of tears, but like the sad tears, or when you're telling somebody about a past trauma or past experience. And then I heard someone once say, that's when you know that you're fully healed from a particular event, is when you can retell the story without crying. So that's the emotional regulation that you just spoke about. So once you're able to fully emotionally regulate yourself, you're like, I'm good. Like I can tell this story and it doesn't like trigger me anymore. It doesn't like invoke all those emotions that I can't control.
It doesn't affect you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting. I
Yeah,
love this. And so, well, we've talked about in the past how sports, I think in some arenas they're trying to reinvent themselves for the good and bring Jesus back into the purview. Um, and so I wanted to share this, the World Cup, that this is a big event, right? That's just starting for many reasons. I mean, I listen to Absolute Storm and I think, oh my gosh, there's so many things that could be happening.
That FIFA dig, holy shnikey.
Right. I mean, really. But then there's it's so meaningful for other things too. So I just wanted to share this here. So there's a fella who plays, his name is Jeremy Doku. He has 3.7 million followers. And there's nothing bigger than soccer/football that is called, all around the world. And he's a gentleman who's given himself to Christ. He's actually started a YouTube page where it's all about the things that he has discovered. And I wanted to share this one testimony. It has 1 million views, just this one. Let me get this out.
Back. That he says, well done, servant. My goal is when he comes back that he says, like, Jeremy, I gave you money. I gave you friends, connection. I gave you a wife. I gave you fame. I gave you family. I gave you resources, all that. What did you do for me? Not for yourself, not to buy you clothes, what did you do for me? What did you do with your financial? What did you do with your finances? Did you just build estates? What did you use it? What did you use for me? And all those questions, when you ask that, then you realize that basically I've been living for myself, and that's not sacrificing yourself daily. You understand what I mean? So my goal is that when he comes back, that he tells me, well done, good servant, and that I go with him into eternity. That's my goal.
So that's just a glimpse of what he has started on YouTube. And he just started last year, and it's all a series about his experience, his devotions, his biblical thoughts on things, sharing the Bible. I mean, this is pretty cool. I mean, this is definitely a trend, and it's exciting to see that athletics is being used in such a way as this, because I think because there's some people who might not see it any other way. Right.
And to bring up your point, like bringing up Stormy and Paul, this is why they don't give up on sports, because you're seeing it left and right this year. Sports players, baseball players out there with Jesus shirts on during their practice, wearing it under their jerseys during games. I'm seeing more crosses. I'm seeing more verses being put on their uniforms. Like it's literally the great awakening happening. It is happening. And sports, I know a lot of people are like, well, I gave it up after all that and the transgender stuff and the LGBTQ plus whatever. People gave it up. And I'm sitting here going, yeah, that's cool and all, but you're going to end up seeing a transformation. I'm telling you right now, you're going to end up seeing, because the devout Christians and the devout people that are with God aren't going to stand with it any longer because it's being shoved down our faces. And we're not, you know what? Honestly, I'm sitting here going, let them keep doing that. We'll keep shoving our God stuff down their faces. And maybe it'll wake one of them up and make them realize what I'm doing is wrong, or what I'm doing is not in the realm of what I'm supposed to be doing in the God sense. You know, so that's why I don't give up. You can't give up on sports, guys. You can't.
Well, and I do think this is the direction for sure.
Yeah.
Because to the point, I'll say it again, because some people won't ever see it unless it is in sports. And I think, and so here, this just happened. Some of the Cleveland players, basically, they all got together for Cleveland for Christ event, where they worship music, personal testimonies. It was fantastic.
I will
God is moving with the Cleveland Browns.
Find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true. I will rescue you.
How cool is that?
Lauren Daigle, man, that song got me through some of my darkest times.
Girl, that is my song right now. That one
got me through some of my darkest times with my first encounter.
Yeah, dude,
so
her
good.
music is literally helping me right now. Like literally, that's why I'm sitting here. Me and you both were sitting here mouthing the words, because her music, if you have not checked her stuff out, anybody that's watching, you need to.
Rescue me, man.
Yeah, it really is. So one last thing I wanted to share today, because it was so timely. So yesterday, as part of the America 250th celebrations, the U.S. bishops formally consecrated the nation, United States, to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. On June 11th, 2026, as part of the celebration of the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. bishops formally consecrated the United States of America to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. The solemnity of the Sacred Heart is June 12th. It is today. So I want to share a clip of this just for a second, where this happened yesterday, where they're in this gathering. I mean, this is huge. I mean, there's millions of Catholic people around the world. So this is huge. So I wanted to, let me bring this up on the screen and just share just 1 minute of this as well.
United States and these United States of America into the Sacred Heart of Jesus, not because we have figured everything out, but because we know the one whose love endures forever. In this heart we find gratitude for the past, strength for the present, and hope for the future.
Hope for the future. I mean, it's there's powerful things happening all over the world right now, and man, it's undeniable.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I have to bring it up because I just saw Paul's comment. The Carolina Hurricanes, speaking of sports and the Christian faith and everything like that, the Carolina Hurricanes are one win away from the cup. I have to let that known. But most of their players, most of their players are Christians, and they are not quiet about it, period. And I could vouch for that because I follow them, like a lot of their players, even though it's not my team. They're my second team because I live in the Carolinas. But Paul's not wrong. And dude, Slavin, I don't want to butcher it, Paul, but Slavin, he's very, very outspoken about his Christianity, and it is beautiful. Like, he praises God all the time, every game. It's not him, it's God. It's not him, it's God. Like, it makes me happy to see these sports people coming to God. MMA fighters, when they're at the end of their fight, I give all glory to God. If it wasn't for him, I
Yes.
wouldn't be here. Like
Yeah.
so many sports players. Like I'm sorry I had to go back to that because
It
it's
is,
huge.
but it shows that it's everywhere and it's
Mhm.
fantastic and it's incredible. Well, I want to go around and just give everybody last thing to say, but before I do, thank you, Steve, with Real AF Patriot for rating into us. That always means so much to us. And everybody watching, all around, on all the social media, thank you for being a part of this. We so grateful for you. Barb, any last thoughts?
Ah, yeah. Thank you, ladies, for everything. Like this week's been wild. But hey, I'm going in it with another heartfelt weekend because I got to spend time with my ladies. And that's one way
Yeah.
to start your weekend, isn't it? Just to be with
Yeah.
your lovely ladies before the
Yeah.
weekend starts, you know.
Absolutely. It's always nice to just to
Yeah.
be with like-minded people and share love and goodness, to get you,
Exactly.
going on the right track for
You
sure.
guys just
Audrey,
have
what
you guys have just been a big support system, and I thank you so much. Mwah.
well, of course, and that's what we're supposed to
Yep.
do,
Yep.
care for each other for sure. Audrey, what about you?
I mean, I just love it all like every Friday, but today was really cool because there was a lot of confirmations and a lot of God doing God things. And, to the sports piece with it, it's like, of course, I love it for all the reasons, right? Because they're glorifying God and I love to see that and all that. But I also love on a programming level what it's doing culturally.
Mm-hmm.
Because when God uses big names, celebrities, because we have this culture of celebrity fandom and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so culturally, there's people that are going to be like, they'll start to get a little FOMO and then they'll want to be like that guy. They'll want to be, that's just how culture works as you start to be like other people.
Yep.
And especially people that don't have a strong identity already, they're looking for an identity. And what better identity to seek than one that glorifies God?
Right.
And so that's really fun to think about, the trickle down effects of all of these efforts that are being made, that God has used his army to infiltrate every institution across the board.
Yep.
And, a few of us, we saw this kind of come in for a couple of years now, and now to like live in it and to see it being multiplied. And it's just really fun to think about what the future holds with all of these efforts going on. And it just reminds me that the best is yet to come.
to come.
Woo! It sure is. And Deshara, any last thoughts?
Well, just want to say I love you, ladies. And I think that God is doing, what God needs to do in this season, and we're us being able to talk about some of the topics, and like Ellen said, with like-minded people. Sometimes you don't have that often, where you're able to talk about the things that we know to be true. And so I'm always happy about aligning with spirits that are in Christ. And so I thank you all for just a wonderful journey on the View of Truth. I just want to give a shout out to everybody in the comment section, because I stay reading them, and I just love all of the different comments and perspectives that are being shared. And I just probably would close by saying that, only what we do for God will last.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this has been so wonderful. Yes, and thank you for the chat. Hair Therapy, our moderator, is just the greatest. Thank you so much for all you do. For everybody here on X watching and on YouTube watching, thank you for being with us. Saturday, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Eastern time, back here on the Truth Teller Tales channel, our Labor of Love series. Trisha and I are going to be talking to Sheriff Richard Mack, Sheriff Mack,
he's great.
America's Sheriff. And he and his wife, Dawn Mack, are going to be on. They've been married 51 years, and they're going to share their love story, their family, pictures of their grandkids, kids, and just share their lifelong love story. So that's 6 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow, back here on the
I
Truth
love
Teller
that.
Tales channel.
I
So
love
thanks,
that
Barb.
show. That show's
Oh,
great.
yeah. Thanks, Barb. You've been on a couple times, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Go check it all out. Now you can check it all out on YouTube too, on the Truth Teller Tales channel. But anyway, take care, everybody. Have a wonderful week. It's exciting times. We love you very, very much, and we can't wait to see you again. Have a fantastic weekend. God bless you all. See you soon. Bye. I mean, you can't make this stuff
It's
up.
going to be biblical. I will be stopped.
But let me send in my healers.
That makes me smile.
There's nothing happening that is not biblical.
Truth shall set you free.